Welcome to Friday Beyond Spotlights, where we invite leading minds and game changers with incomparable experience and unique knowledge to come on our light-hearted yet informative show to help business leaders and the wider community to gain insights, grasp opportunities, and see behind and beyond spotlights, so we can get the full picture, dream bigger, and achieve more together. My name is Herman Hu, and Friday Beyond Spotlight is honored and pleased to present to you our guest today, Honorable Kenneth Fok Kai-kong. Mr. Fok is a member of the Legislative Council of Hong Kong, representing the sports, performing arts, culture and publication functional constituencies. He is also a National Committee member of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. He is also a Vice President of the Hong Kong Sports Federation and Olympic Committee. Welcome, Kenneth.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Kenneth, you're an avid supporter of sports, and you even married an Olympic champion.
Yes.
You're the eldest third generation of the famous Fok family who has contributed so much to sports in Hong Kong, China, and internationally. In your view, how does sports play a role in our society?
I think it's quite an interesting question. I think it's also important to look at the history. Look at our country. You know, throughout decades, sports has played an important role, not just in one sense, not in the sense of just getting medals, serving as a bridge and a connection to the world from the ping pong diplomacy, moving forward to 50 years of normalization with the Western world and beyond. And then we move through a period where, you know, our economy and our whole society is rising up the ranks, so-called. And sports played a very big role. Remember the Olympics in 2008? It served actually not just as a competition. It serves as a message to tell people the door is open. This is a way to show the world China is, you know, powerful. China is on the rise. We welcome everyone. But now, moving on nearly 20 years, besides the competition prowess, besides competition medals, now we see in the 14th five-year plan, what's more important is mass participation, community participation. To be a really strong sporting nation, we not only need medals, we need more young people to participate themselves in sports. And this will lead to the business part, where sports industry and business can blossom. So, you know, coming back to Hong Kong, you know, I think a very important role sports can play. Look at the recent Olympic results, right? I unfortunately could not go to Tokyo because of the pandemic, but I was in Hong Kong. I was at a mall with all different, you know, people of all walks of life, witnessed Zhang Galong get a gold medal. And, you know, Hong Kong's been through tough times in the past few years, especially the pandemic. And now to see people out and about, to see people rally behind our sporting hero, that's something else.
Do you see sports as an integral part of work, life, and play in Hong Kong?
I've really noticed that the young people now, they care a lot more about quality of life. Quality of life. It's not just about work, but work-life balance. And part of life is sports. Hong Kong, although it's a compact city, but there are facilities, although not enough. We hope for more. But I think everyone use our waterfront. We use our limited resources to make the best out of Hong Kong. I tell you a few examples. I speak to a few rowers. They love coming to Hong Kong. Why? Because there's no other city in the world where you can start off the race in the harbor with skyscrapers, but 20 minutes you turn around the south, it's green, lush, and mountains. So this is only Hong Kong can offer. Where in the world can you go hiking and trekking? You start from the city and you walk up 1 hour and then you're in a country park. This is what Hong Kong is about, and this is what, you know, attracts athletes and sports lovers alike to Hong Kong.
Yeah, what are the unique advantages of Hong Kong's one country, two system? How do you promote Hong Kong to the international sports industry that Hong Kong is the best city to promote brands to the 1.4 billion population in China and vice versa?
I think when you talk about one country, two system, I think the immediately we can connect to is the Greater Bay Area. Greater Bay Area immediately extends Hong Kong's reach and population to 70 million people from 7 million. So I can envision the future. Hong Kong can bridge the world and get more hosting opportunities, different sporting events, conventions, and whatever may be, trade shows even. But we reach out to the Greater Bay Area, even the greater China market. So I think it's a sound business proposal for a lot of the international federations, a lot of international sporting agencies to really put their eye on Hong Kong. I think it will break barriers. There are difficulties to overcome. Currency, different rule of law, different system, but sports, I think, is a good platform to
I'm sure
break
over
through.
time, all these will become history.
Yes, so I think it's a great prospect for whoever is wanting to take a share of the China market in sports, and it's rising. The general market for sports in our country is rising by many factors. So this is the opportunity we should be looking for.
Yeah.
I think the aim is generally for the sports industry in China to reach 5% of GDP.
Yeah.
And this is a big number. We can do the maths.
Wow.
5% at the moment, US sports industry is 5% of the US GDP.
Right.
Europe is about 2.53. Hong Kong at the moment is about 1 to 2.
1 to 2.
1 to 2. So China mainland, the expectation is 5. And I think Hong Kong has a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And hopefully Hong Kong, with the government's support, we should also put much more emphasis on not just events, but how to develop the sporting industry,
Sports industry.
to increase the GDP percentage of sports in Hong Kong. And we can play a role for the mainland.
Well, it seems that it takes a lot of money to support and promote sports. Do you see any new business models for sports industries to become profitable, or just relying on the sponsorships?
Well, I think sponsorship will always be the cornerstone of many sporting events, as you see worldwide. I think sponsorship is a big part of it. But what we are looking at, or what sports should be looking at, is diversify. Cannot put all eggs in one basket, right? As we see COVID now. COVID has changed the landscape quite a lot. Sponsors will calculate and they will see how much reach they will be getting. So sponsorship will be one thing, but changing the mode of business is another factor. And what I'm saying here is merchandising, IP products, and even way of engaging fans. The traditional TV broadcasting, is this the only way? I'm sure the Olympic movement, the IOC, is also looking at different ways. Now they're developing a lot about the Olympic channel. I'm sure in the future, they're trying to create contents themselves and to sell to customers directly without going through TV stations. So does it pay? Yes, it does. And I think on the flip side of the coin, let's look at it from the government's angle. Take the recent Singapore F1. Actually, from the government's angle, it's not the F1 events that make money. It's the secondary tertiary spending in tourism that helps the Singapore economy. So Herman, back to home. Us in the sporting community, we are very excited about the new bureau. Right? Something that we've asked for many, many years. It used to be under Home Affairs. Now, finally, we have a dedicated bureau for culture and sports. So I think moving forward is culture, sports, and tourism. So in terms of government policy, how do you integrate the two? I think it's important. We cannot look at sports just by itself. How the Rugby 7 bring in tourism. And we should calculate it as a whole, not by its separate bits. Otherwise, there will never be enough incentive for individual events in the government's point of view. So this is something that we're pushing very hard. I know people who are dedicated every year. They book their flight 1 year in advance to come to the Rugby Sevens. So these are events that we need to grow and have and use as our name card for Hong Kong on the international stage.
We all know that the Kai Tak Sports Park is going to be ready in 2024. Not only do we have more facilities to develop sports culture here, it also enables us to host mega events. What mega events do you expect to secure in the near future?
We do want to bid for more football events. I think for China.
Are we going to have World Cup here?
Well, this is a big question. I think in China's point of the whole country's point of view, I think definitely World Cup's on site. Hopefully, we can China as a hosting nation can get the World Cup, and of course, by then, if it happens, I'm sure Hong Kong would be able to host a few big events coming to Hong Kong. So this will be again. This is important for the Greater Bay Area. This is why we need to successfully deliver the 2025. All China Games. I always mention Kai Tak should not just be a Hong Kong feature, should not just be Hong Kong Stadium. It should be the Greater Bay's newest stadium. You know, how can the Kai Tak connect with different stadiums within the Greater Bay Area?
Okay.
We have a lot of good stadiums
Right.
in Shenzhen,
Oh, yeah,
in
many of
Guangzhou.
them.
You know, can they come together and together bid for some big events so they can have a tour?
Ah, good idea.
You know, so that when the sports team come, when a Premier League team comes, they're not just coming to one market; they're going to a big market.
What advice would you give to young people who want to be a professional athlete?
I sit on a panel every year and judge young potential athletes. And I always get the same question. They are 16, 17-year-old. They're faced with many choices, right? They have to take DSC, they have to go to university, but they're passionate about sports. But a lot of them see a choice between one or the other. But actually, I've seen successful athletes be able to do both at the same time. And this takes dedication and work. I'm not lying to you. They get up very early, they study, they train very hard, and they do the breakthrough and they get, you know, best of both worlds. So if you're serious and passionate about sports, keep at it, keep the fire burning. I'm sure Hong Kong, no matter the society, the ecosystem, we could support you for you to become a professional athlete and have the chance to represent Hong Kong.
Well, it's wonderful, Kenneth. Thank
you.
you. We will be right back after this break.